the Sixers have a lot of money tied up in Paul Reed with this deal. This makes him 1,000% the backup center to Joel Embiid. Having this crowded of a room and adding Mo Bamba and the Sixers feeling like they knew they were going to add him and they were going to retain his rights, and the Sixers going out there and retaining Montrezl Harrell as well, it makes me think that Harrell, it makes me think that Paul Reed, and it makes me feel like Mo Bamba are going to get a lot of minutes. And it looks like Paul Reed is going to get a decent amount of starts in the upcoming season. Because the goal with this franchise is, of course, yes, again, to make sure that Joel Embiid is healthy come playoff time, make sure that Joel Embiid is well-rested come playoff time, and make sure that he is going to play at the absolute best level he can. And the way you do that is making sure that you are sparing him as many minutes as possible during the regular season. I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be having back-to-back MVP seasons. He might play like an MVP again, but when it comes to actually playing enough games, when it comes to actually going out there and having an opportunity to stuff the stat sheet as he had the last couple of seasons, I don't think he's going to have that opportunity this year. So when I look at this Paul Reed deal, what it tells me is you have three guys on this team that are going to be making some money, especially Paul Reed, and you're going to have some guys on this team because of that money that you're going to want to make sure that you're playing those guys and that Joel Embiid is getting a break. They now have we talk about it in the NFL a lot. Oh, make sure you have a stable of running backs. Make sure you have two good quarterbacks. Make sure you have depth. You never know what can happen. Well, the 76ers now have a stable of centers ready to trot in there to make sure that they're spelling Joel Embiid from the hardships of a long NBA season. And now with the NBA having that midseason tournament for whatever reason, money, okay? Now you're going to be going at it a little bit more in Vegas for possible mid-season championship. It just sounds like a participation. It sounds like a glorified all-star game is what it does. But anyway, the Sixers now have a stable of centers to make sure Joel Embiid is as fresh and as healthy as possible come playoff time. So there's no, it's a long season. I got tired. I messed up my knee, the third month of the season, and now I'm still recovering. Not 100%. There's going to be no excuses. If everything goes according to plan, with Joel Embiid, and he's healthy and no injuries creep in there and all that stuff, then he will be as fresh as possible come playoff time. Now, how do you get as close to injury-free as possible? Well, you don't play him a lot. Or at least you don't play him close to what he's played in years past. That's where you're going to make sure that he's as fresh and as healthy as possible. And how do you do that? You get a stable of centers to be in here. I am very happy for Paul Reed. He's earned this. And aside from being a guy that was just a fan favorite because he was a G League MVP, he worked his way up, and you saw him have to beat out a guy like DeAndre Jordan to make sure that he was getting minutes in the playoffs. So we had to go through that whole Paul Reed victory tour thing from Doc Rivers. Aside from all that, he's good. He is a good backup center option to Joel Embiid. Like, I still think the best guy that they had ever for backing up Joel Embiid was Andre Drummond, and unfortunately that ended far too soon with the Ben Simmons deal, but you had to get that deal done, and there you go. But as far as the guy that I have confidence in that can come in, play defense, block shots, get you some offense, cut to the rim, I think will be really good in a Nick Nurse offense, because that's the other thing. A stable of centers lends you to believe that not only is Paul Reed going to be your backup with this deal being done, but it also leads you to believe that Nick Nurse is going to get what he wants in terms of a lot of ball movement. And one of the other things we got into with Kai Carlin at USA Today last week was the idea of this ball movement you're going to see from Nick Nurse. And I know a lot of people are going to want to talk about Nick Nurse on the defensive end of things and what he likes to do. But offensively speaking, the man loves movement. So there's not going to be a lot of standing around doing nothing. And if Joel Embiid is going to be standing around, or if Joel Embiid is going to be playing in that style of offense, then that's even more reason to spell him minutes and make sure he's getting his rest and make sure he is getting his time off and make sure he's going to be a fresh center by the time the playoffs do roll around. Paul Reed could certainly help that by being able to move around. Mo Bamba, we'll see. And Montrezl Harrell is certainly athletic enough to be moving around.